I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:04. Are you recording there?
Recording in progress.
I was recording on here.
Okay. Are you all set, Tammy? Okay, so it's 6:05, but we called it order at 6:04. First item of business is addition or deletions to the agenda. I know you have something. Go ahead, Tammy.
I have a contractual for executive session.
Okay, anybody else? Matt, you have something too, don't you?
Hey, Rich. Yeah, just the note about the hiring team for the 5th grade position.
Okay, so we'll put that under old business. Anybody else? Oh, Chad's here now too, so we even got more of a quorum. The only other thing I have is contractual too for negotiations, and we'll do that under executive session. Matt, Bill or Matt or Tammy, could somebody just get the verbiage we need so that when we get there, we can get into executive session?
Yes, I will search for it and find it.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Okay, so if there's no other delicious agenda items, there's no more additions or deletions to the agenda, I'll go to members of the public, and I got Alan. Alan, you're gonna talk about yes. Go ahead, Alan.
I am my only thing is I know in the annual we talked about the website a little bit and the fact that getting the meeting information, the agenda seems a lot harder now than it did a few months ago. And I just to go to the Dover website and to go to that calendar, it used to be there was a Zoom link in there, and that's not there anymore. And it's just really hard. So I don't know what can be done in the interim until the website's done, but if there's some way to post a PDF of the agenda or something, or maybe I'm just not looking in the right place. I don't know.
Yeah, we can, go ahead, Tammy.
I would recommend going to the meetingdocs.rvusd.net. That's really the best place to find all of the documents and the Zoom links.
That site's not working.
The site's not working.
That's what Meredith says. I don't know who Meredith is.
I think it's not working either. I checked.
That site's dead.
Oh.
That could be your permissions level in the Google Docs too. I don't know.
Okay, hey, Bill, can we just
Yes.
make sure that people can find the information?
It's right here on the agenda too.
But they can't find the agenda, so that's why
All right.
what their issue is.
Yeah.
So can we just make sure that it's easy to find and it gets a prominent location somewhere? I know you go to WCSU and you can find it, can't you usually?
Yeah, I can just put that on the meeting agenda, and I can also provide that to Tammy and Matt for ease of sharing.
And then maybe Matt and Tam, we can throw it out on your newsletter.
We do each time we have a meeting.
Cool.
Can we put a link on the school websites?
Well, there is. I think it's just
there is.
some people
Okay.
can't find it. It's
All right.
not as easy to find as it used to be.
Gotcha.
But remember, because in a little bit we're going to talk about website, Alan, and
Thank you.
we'll have some on that. Is Meredith? Are you on here twice? Meredith Block.
I am. I'm sorry.
Nope.
I'm on my computer and my phone.
That's
by
fine.
accident.
I just want to make sure I wasn't ignoring somebody
No,
else.
they're both me. I'm just trying to watch it on one.
Okay.
There you go.
So members of the staff, I got Bridget. Do you have anything for members of the staff? Hello, Bridget.
I do not.
Okay, thank you. Members of the staff. So, moving right along, we're in old business. Debrief annual meeting. So, I just wanted to make amends, or to make a correction. At the annual meeting, we got asked about a 700% increase on a line item in elementary education. And I said it was for not IEPs, but was for it's for one-on-ones for IEPs, but it's for general aid in the and I didn't bring my report. General aids in the building, and I had forgotten, and I checked, and that is also where we put in. We got a request from the administration to put in or bring on somebody behavioral specialist, and that's where Lori put the money for the behavioral specialist. And I did actually call the person who asked that question and gave him the information, so he knew what it was all about. So other than that, is there anything else about a debrief, or is there anything anybody wants to bring up about the annual meeting? Discuss about the annual meeting. Debrief, I thought it went well. I thought there was some good discussion and there was pretty good participation, and I don't know, what do you think, Mike? What was
I think
your
it went
first
well.
one?
For my first one, I think it went swimmingly.
Swimmingly.
Yeah.
Swimming.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that went well too. You know, it was well attended, I thought. I know there was some discussion at the meeting about increasing attendance, but the room was pretty well full for an annual meeting, the ones I've been to. Yeah, I was interested. It seemed like people were really excited to see each other. You know, there was a lot of people happy to be in a room together again, which really was nice to see. I'm wondering if we could maybe expand on that a little bit and have a little more community involvement with some of the schools at the annual meeting next year. That's the only thing I would say.
I guarantee I can get a lot of people there.
Oh yeah, free beer? Or
No. I'll just say we're gonna close all the schools.
Well, that's true too. But maybe brownies will bring them in for
Right.
sale.
I like Alan's idea. Alan said coffee and donuts.
Coffee and donuts, you know. So I think it was. Seemed like a while since we've had a meeting like that. It was really great to see. So I think we should build on it. It's all, you know.
Okay, hey, Kate and Chad, any comments?
Thought it went
I think Dwight said,
Oh,
go ahead, Kate.
Kate, you go.
I thought it went well. It was well attended. It was really fun to see that we had a good diversity of both, as Dwight and I were talking, like little kid parents and big kid parents. So I thought that was great to see from our community that we had a good range of parents and such, and just community members in general too. That was great to see.
Go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really top what Dwight and Kate have already said. And I think the engagement, the questions that were asked, you know, we do have community members that are paying attention to what it is that we're doing. It's always nice that they feel we're doing a great job, and we're pleased with the overall efforts and outcomes of the budget. But, you know, the engagement is the key. And I think it's great to hear not just ourselves as the board asking for more involvement, but other community members saying, yeah, we'd love to see more involved, and really have the care from each and every member of our community about our schools. You know, whether or not they have school-age children, as Kate pointed out, from young to old, but even members of the public, because you know, again, they're entrusting us with the tax dollars that they help raise. So, you know, all in all, I think it was a good show.
Okay, so there's nothing else on that. I think we're good. Okay. Well, we'll do it again next year. See how it goes.
Let's do it again next year. See how it
Okay.
goes. Yeah.
So let's go to Dover next year.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Matt, you had hiring team. Go ahead.
Thanks, Rich. Yeah, I just wanted to let the board know that we have an open classroom teaching position for next year in our 5th grade classroom, and I'm putting together an interview team. And as always, we like to solicit, you know, 1 or 2 board members to participate on that. We'll have 1 or 2 parents, 1 or 2 staff members, and those interviews will be on the books for next Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm just looking for a couple of board members who might like to work on that team with me.
Okay.
My son will be in that grade.
Doesn't matter. You can still be in the
Still
interview.
can do it.
I'll do it.
All right.
Okay.
I did the first one I ever did. My daughter was in it.
Yep.
Because we also
Is
need
that Mike?
parents.
Yeah.
that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Mike.
All right.
So get Mike the information, and then Kate or Chad, you have any interest? Chad's trying to turn his phone off.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm kind of moving, trying to pick up a lightning delay from school. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to be a part of that. Right now time is available, so I'd be happy to step up and be part of the hiring committee.
Okay, so why don't you have Mike and Chad? You can just, Matt, just contact them or send them an email. And I'll go, wow, I'm having a bad day today.
Yeah.
I think I was drinking. Can you just send them an email, just
Sounds
explain to them what they're doing, what they need to do, and what's involved?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you,
Nice.
Chad, for that. That was
All right.
very good.
That's good.
Okay, moving on to new business. We did get a written principals report, I believe I saw one, and it
Yes,
was
there was
very
one in the
nice.
packet.
And I had no questions, but does anybody have any questions on the principals report?
I don't have a question, but I just want to say that we also shared your continuous improvement plans. There is no action needed by the board. Those are living documents. They get approved on a biannual basis, but Tammy and Matt just wanted to make sure that they got in front of the board.
Okay. So were there any questions on that? And that's something you really kind of update once a year, right?
Yeah.
Hey, and I'm sorry because I see Lori's here. Lori, I usually try to get you guys on first, you and Greg. What were you here for?
I am here for the Wardsboro Playground.
Okay, well, let's skip to that just so we don't have to hold you up. Greg, are you here for that and the buses or just the playground?
Both.
Okay, so let's go to, if you guys don't mind, let's do the playground and then let's do the bus so that we can let those two people go to another meeting maybe. So what is the playground? Who's leading that discussion?
Lori, do you want me to start and you can jump in, or do you want to start?
No, go ahead, you start and I'll point them to the finance.
Okay, so, I think Lori and I started a conversation about maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. She approached me because there is some revenue in our special revenues account, and we had some feedback from not only our parent surveys, but also our student surveys regarding the playground. So Lori saw that maybe as an opportunity to make some improvements to our existing playground. So I've been in touch with Burke Playground Equipment, who is a company that one of the schools used recently, which was Wyndham, and a consultant came and we priced out some equipment. Obviously, with my departure, getting things organized might be a little bit of a challenge. So, full disclosure, this project probably would not be completed by the time June 30th rolls around. Just wanna put
Or you
that out
cannot
there.
depart.
True.
Yeah,
Very
stick
true.
around
There's
for the
all
playground.
sorts of options available. So I know nothing about this. I don't know when this came up. Does anybody on the board know anything about this?
Actually, I'm hoping Kate unmutes her mic because it was, I heard her talk about it and that's where I started looking.
Yeah, I had gotten some reports from some students that might live in my household that there were some pieces of equipment that had been closed to the students. So we wanted to make sure that they had some good opportunities for. Yeah, my words are lost tonight too. I can't. Yeah, it's just really
contagious.
good opportunities for growth.
Okay, so I guess, well, where I'm confused is, do you folks have a proposal? Do you have something you want to have us approve? Are you just asking? So I guess can we,
Maybe that's Lori's
Sure.
question.
Go ahead, Lori.
okay.
Sure, yeah. So with special revenue, the board doesn't really approve that. That comes in from, could come in from a grant, it could come in from some donations and things like that. So currently Wardsboro has in their special revenue about $32,000. And so when I heard Kate start talking about the playground, I worked with I talked to our auditors about this, about what the funds came in and what they're committed to. And the playground falls within the scope of of the money. So it's more about, letting the board know that this is where this money is going to be spent on. It's River Valley's playground, Wardsboro School's playground. So we just wanted to bring it before you tonight.
Okay, so I'm not exactly sure what you're bringing before us tonight, I guess.
I guess we're just informing the board that there's going to be a playground project using the special revenue funds from grant money and donations.
So what kind of playground? I mean, are we replacing all the equipment? Are we doing a new playground? Are we spending $100,000? Are we spending $1,000? I mean, I guess there's.
I think Tammy has the quotes there. Do you have those, Tammy?
I do. I have a couple of proposals. One, it's for a small structure with a couple of like climber items as well, and replacing the swing set. One of the quotes includes installation, and one does not. If we did not include the installation, we would need to obviously get a group of volunteers here to install the playground. But that comes with a premium price of like $20,000, so it really increases the price when you don't include the install. So based on about the $30,000, which is what Lori had figured, I did get a proposal from a structure that would fit in the current space within about just that budget of $30,000. If you added the installation, again, that adds another $18,000. So I do have two proposals here. Go ahead, Greg.
I would urge us to include installation. I know it's expensive, but as soon as you install, you carry the liability of that. You lose all the insurance on that. So you know what I mean? Once we do that, I mean, we could do the removal, I would think, that can save you some money, hopefully, and whatnot. But like install, I would highly recommend us trying to find a way to include installation for the sake of liability insurance. I don't believe anyone at Visbit would want volunteers putting a playground in like that. I know I wouldn't recommend it. Sorry.
So I guess I'm kind of like, maybe it's a really bad day, but is this something that people weighed in on? Is this something that people are in agreement with? Did the parents want this? And how much exactly is it going to be? And it sounds like there was $32,000 in a special fund that the school board has no control over, but yet it sounds like you've got pricing for more than $32,000, so the difference is going to have to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember any discussions. I don't remember anything during budgeting time about this. So I'm really kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure what we're doing. So
I think we're just bringing it forward to you so that you were, to get input from the board, obviously, and to alert you and make you aware.
Okay, so Lori, how much money is there, and where did it come from, and where is it? Where does it show in the money in our financials?
Oh, muted.
You're muted, Lori.
Muted.
About $32,000 that was brought over from Wardsboro in their special revenue fund that was leftover money. A lot of it came from Stratton Foundation money that was awarded to Wardsboro through the years that they didn't spend all of. There's some donations from parents, specifically for students of Wardsboro. So all of that adds up to about $32,000.
Has that been showing up in our financials anywhere? Is that part of our fund balance?
Not in your general fund, no. It's on your audit. The actual special revenue fund is about $47,000. So some of the other special revenue are from Dover, you know, the first grade play grant, the ag farm to school, Dover Stars. These are all in your audit.
Okay. No, but where does it show in the financials when you look at the financials?
When you look at the financials.
Where is that $32,000 sitting? Is it sitting in the reserves? Is it sitting in our operating budget?
It's sitting in special revenue, the special revenue fund.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So we didn't report it to the voters this year.
You don't typically.
Okay. No, I don't know, Lori. I'm asking.
No, you report it through the audit, right?
Okay.
So that's where the, you know, if you're, I think you had a link to your audit in your annual report.
Because we always tell the voters that, you know, we don't spend money really without their approval. So I'm just trying to make sure it's not part of that reserve that we talk about. So how much do you?
Not at all.
Okay, thank you. How much were your proposals? How much was your bids?
There is one for 30,000, which includes, I mean, we could go around, you know, about this a couple of different ways,
Yeah.
because it includes the swing set, which, you know, it needs to be replaced eventually. So there's one for 30, and then there's one for 48, and that includes the install. So the 30,000 does not include the install, which Greg just pointed out, that's necessary.
So you don't have enough if you only have 32,000.
Correct.
So I guess then it has to be, the board has to approve it now because you're gonna go over budget. And
A question.
Go ahead.
Is there any way that we could do it in a phased approach, like divide up what some of the elements were that needed to be addressed this year, and then go for a phased approach, maybe do a special article next year, or to do like a phase 2?
Well, I would think that we don't need a special article. We can just add it into the operating budget next year. It's just we didn't add it in for this year. And they can spend, you know, according to Lori, they can spend $32,000 without and do it, and they'll just let us know. So, you know, the question comes down to, do we want to see if there's any money left somewhere in the budget that we can fund the difference? Or do we not? Do we just do the 32,000? So that's why that's why I was confused early on what we were doing and what we were trying to accomplish. So just do this for me again because I didn't write it down. So you got one price of 30,000.
Yeah, would you like to see that?
No, I don't need to see it. So you have a price of 30 for just the equipment,
Correct.
and you have
The
a price
equipment and
of.
freight is like $3,600 too.
So you're 33,600 just for the equipment.
No, that includes the.
That includes it.
Yeah.
And you have 48,000 for a similar package but installed.
It's the same exact package.
Oh, it's the
Just
same
The installation costs it's
About
18,000.
18,000. So what we could do, if you wanted to, if Lori tells us that the budget's going to be good and we're going to have like $120,000 surplus, we could vote to have them buy the equipment, they could buy the equipment and we could just approve the installation. The only other thing, Greg, is, you know, my company did the install at the Dover school back when they bought the equipment, you know, as a donation too, and our company took the liability. You know, and we also built the big playground there with all volunteer help on a Saturday with Dr. Death. So, I mean, it has been done before, and maybe that's one way we get, you know, some buy-in from the community also, is, you know, maybe we can part out some of the labor, at least, is like Greg said, at least a demolition. And if there's a contractor in town who wants to donate a weekend or, you know, a day of equipment time, I don't know what's involved and I don't know what you're doing. I know Bill was the principal when we did the Dover one, and some of it was a little confusing and fun, but we had like 5 or 6 guys, and I think we spent a day there. So, I mean, are there other ways we can do that? Can we buy the stuff, at least have it here, and then we figure out how we get it put in, even if it goes in next year? I mean, there's some options. So I've talked a lot. You got 4 of the board members. You guys tell us what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying that if you're not a certified installer, you lose the manufacturer warranty.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
So could we also though talk to the Dover Original Playground with this doctor, actually it was Dr. Play, I called him Dr. Death. He was there to oversee it so we could keep the warranty, and then he just oversaw the community that helped put it together. So can we maybe see if there's some
A
option
community
for
build,
that?
I think it's called. I think there is an option for a community build.
So why don't we look into
Okay,
that?
sure.
And see if that's something, so, but anyways, I'm sorry. So the other thing is then we would have enough to do, we may have enough to do it if they only charge us like an oversight fee.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Like, Mike,
yeah.
I don't think it's reasonable to have parts of your playground closed.
Right.
I think it's more of a necessity.
Yeah, it's a safe. There's some safety.
Yeah, you're only a kid once. You should have a
Right.
pretty awesome playground. And the Dover kids will enjoy it too, because I know my kids go to it when we're playing ball here. And I'm all for it.
There you go. Yeah, I think, to Rich's point, it'd be nice to know about this in advance, but I can assume that things do pop up, that's not just in this area, but other areas on the budget, and we do have the ability to go over budget, as Rich likes to tell us on certain items. It would have been nice to know this a little more in advance before the budgeting process, but these things pop up. So I like Rich's approach, see what we can do to save some money on it by the community program to have it installed. If not, we'll figure out a way, and maybe you might have to come back to us at some point, Rich, I guess, to approve it, the additional cost. Yeah.
Kate?
Yeah, I think it's a really necessary part of education to have that physical movement and that ability to learn through play. So I think I love the idea of, looking at the community build, seeing if that works. But like we said, if it doesn't work, we'll figure out a way to make it work.
Chad, are you still with us?
Yes, sir, I am. Yeah, and I concur as well. Having the play structures is absolutely imperative to the childhood development. Physical as much is as important as the emotional, social, and the academic that we do provide and stay focused on. So whatever we can do to enhance the children's experience is a fantastic idea, and I like the approach as well, Rich, that you suggested.
Laura, I see you're on. I don't know if when you came into the conversation, but do you have any comments?
Sorry for joining late. And I see that we are talking about the Wardsboro Playground, and I would support the majority of the board here, who I've heard supporting moving forward with it.
Okay, so does this work for everybody? Here's what I'm hearing. We've got 32,000. It's going to cost us less to get the equipment. So not to delay getting the equipment. They can just go buy the equipment.
Can I just,
Yeah.
real quick? Did you budget shop this? Did you pick it out because it fit right in your budget? I mean, for a few bucks more, can we get a, you know what I mean? I don't want to spend everyone's money, but.
We have a certain space that we have to work within too. So I have worked with, we're very fortunate to have a parent who's also a landscape architect. So
Yep.
he's actually done the drawings in the space.
So this is the one you want?
Well, this structure will fit in that space very
Gotcha.
well.
Okay.
Without having to actually do some more
Yeah.
extra landscaping and excavating and whatnot.
Gotcha. There's buyer's remorse is real.
Yeah. So I think you got up to 32,000. Lori says. Lori, you've got to stop moving, okay? I'm having a bad meeting. I can't keep track of everything. So you got up to 32,000. Let's get the equipment ordered. Let's talk to them if there's the possibility of hiring a representative from the company to do a community build day.
And we'll find out.
And let's find out. And then if not, then I think next meeting we have to have a discussion. And Lori, for the next meeting, we'll just want to see where we stand and if there's somewhere, because I noticed that you also said no more purchasing as of some day. I think it was today. So.
Right.
So is that good with everybody?
Yes.
You guys
Yeah,
good?
it's great. It's perfect.
Okay, so next meeting, we'll have a conversation about how it's gonna get installed.
And I'll get some information in between.
Yeah, and even if, and I think the other thing is we should put a feeler out to people too, to ask, see if it like an evening or Saturday morning or
I
something.
definitely put out feelers about the demolition because I do know a company that would help with that portion of it.
I think I know it might be.
Yes.
What's the demolition?
What's that?
What's the demolition?
So we have an existing structure that would need to come down in order for us, to
Blow it away.
put a new structure in its place,
Yeah, because one of the things we had to do was pull cement too.
Yeah,
right? Which
so-
will have to be done as well.
Okay. So why don't we move that, Greg and Lori, you'll help Tammy and we should be all good.
Yep.
Okay. Cool, thank you. Next time, give us a little heads up. Wardsboro discussion, well, there's no action till next
Do my
time.
bus.
What?
I thought you were gonna do my bus.
No. Hey, Meredith, just make sure that shows on the agenda, or I mean, in the minutes that we have to discuss at the next meeting. And Kate, we should make a note about that to make sure that's on the agenda. Okay,
Got the pick pen.
thank you. So the next thing, I think the only other thing that Greg was here for was I don't even know where Greg went right there.
He's bouncing around.
I know, he took Lori's place now. Hey, Greg, you and Dwight, you want to talk about electric school buses?
This is all Dwight so far. I'm just here to support him.
Thank you. Oh, that's great to hear. Thanks. So I sent a quick one-page kind of information page to the board, and I hope you all got it. And also I sent a very long document that outlines this whole program that Bill printed out for everyone as well. So basically what's happening is the federal government passed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act a couple of years ago, and that provides $5 billion over 5 years for the replacement of existing school buses with low emission school buses, called the Clean School Bus Program. So that's $5 billion over 5 years. So we're in the second year of that program. Last year was the first year where they started providing grants for the replacement of school buses with electric school buses. So what does the grant cover? So basically the grant covers the cost of the electric bus and the charging infrastructure needed to charge the bus. So this just happened. The next round of grants just opened up last Monday, the 24th. So these are the dates for the app. So right now we're in the application process, or actually application period for the grants. So that started last week, and I put down some dates on the page of how this process were to work. So the application deadline is the 22nd of August, and then by right around the first of the year, we'll be notified if we are awarded or we approved, our application is approved, and if we're awarded, we'll know by sometime next February, March. So during that application process, what they'll help us with, the EPA will help us with, is first determine if we're eligible. It will determine what type of bus we would need, and also if the bus would fit our needs as a school district, right? So it's based on the number of miles driven every day, based on the topography, the hills around here and everything, based on how cold it gets, the climate, whether or not it's a good fit for our district, right? And the other good news is the EPA is prioritizing what they call high need local education agencies or rural areas. And I think the reason behind that is because rural areas will benefit the most financially. We only have, we have 2 buses in Dover, so this program would be essentially to replace the bus that is going out of service in the next year or 2 in Dover. So getting a free bus instead of having to pay another 100 grand would be a huge benefit, obviously, to the district and to us financially. So that would be fantastic. So if it fits our needs and to get a bus for nothing, it seems like a no-brainer to me. So what I'm asking at this point is for the board to approve the application process, to move forward with the application, to figure out whether or not this works for our needs, and see where it takes us.
Cool. Comments from the board? Laura, go ahead.
Yeah, I first want to thank Dwight for being willing to take this on. This is a pretty big transition. This is a big focus of a lot of folks, and a limiting agent for rural towns is whether or not there's anyone there that's able to think about this, see if it's something that can work for our town, gather the information, or our district. And so I want to start by saying thank you. I really appreciate you bringing this forward. I fully support us doing the work to gather the information. I think it'll be valuable for us either way, whether it's something that ends up working for our needs or doesn't. And I would enthusiastically support this. And I'm going to have to leave shortly, but I do hope the board will support this.
Thank you. Kate or Chad?
I think it's a great initiative, and I would love to learn more about this. And I'm really excited that Dwight has brought it forward and wants to take it on. So thank you.
Chad?
Yeah, I concur, Rich. Yeah, thank you. With the environmental impacts and concerns, that if we can do our part and it's going to help the entire community, then it's definitely worth exploring. So again, yeah, thanks to Dwight and Greg for spearheading this.
Any comments, sir?
I'm not an electric guy, but if you can get it for free,
Free is good.
it's safe. I mean, but fire department would have to look into it, right?
Yeah, I was gonna make a comment about
Yeah.
that, but, hey, Greg? So, my understanding is, didn't you get some grant money through West River for electric buses and the bus company wouldn't accept them?
No, there was a lot more going on than that. There were people that wanted to do the grant process. They were trying to work with Highland Electric, who told everyone that they could apply for the grant, but you can't actually apply for the grant because you need to have a sam.gov account through the school. So the school ended up having to apply for it. But the continuation of it was that they had to have agreement and a plan in place with Todd, and they had no sex relationship. So it kind of fell on deaf ears. So they had hoped to. It was hard because they also, they're also trying to work with a third party. Here it's much different, right? Because it's your bus. My number one concern for you guys trying to do an electric bus would be that it can charge and they can hold the charge, and that it can take. In general, electric vehicles tend to lose a fair amount of power in cold weather. And I think about the mountains you guys climb up and down and the weather that you deal with, and then the ability to charge it in between runs to ensure that you have enough for, say, that afternoon run. That would be my biggest concern for you. I don't know how it'd be hard to navigate that without someone just giving us a tester or something.
Oh, I got a great way to navigate it. I just want to check with you.
Oh, okay. I love it. Yeah.
So, and again, I agree with Mike. I'm concerned because, there's been electric cars that had burned for 2 or 3 days to a week. There's a company now that makes a box that you put your electric car that's burning up into the box and fill it full of water, and then eventually, hopefully, it goes out. So, I mean, there are some huge fire concerns. And Greg, all your concerns were right on the top of my mind, but when Dwight was giving his presentation, I had a brilliant idea maybe.
What's that?
Why don't we apply for the grant, try to get one? We don't plan to replace that other bus for another couple years. So we could get this electric bus, we can try it, and we still have the backup. We'll have the third bus for a period of time. If it doesn't work, we'll tell them we want to give it back, or we'll give it to somebody who wants it, and we'll go get another diesel bus till the technology improves. So I think it's a wonderful idea. I think we should approve moving forward on it. Because this isn't like the last one where the Obama bus where we had to destroy a bus. Correct?
You do trade one in.
You
have to trade. That was the other issue was they hadn't built the relationship with Todd, and Todd had to commit buses to give in to the program in order to get one out.
Okay, well, we're going to be very simple. We're going to keep that bus that gets replaced this year, and we're going to get rid of that one. We're going to add a third bus to the fleet.
Yeah, so
That's a great plan.
So yeah, two things. And one thing also I thought of was maybe we could get the bus and use it for a different route. Maybe we could put it or use it in Wardsboro to go.
Well, we can't because Todd runs that.
Well, right. Well, we could. We don't have to use them anymore. But the point is, we could use it for a different route. We could have gone anywhere.
Well, we can't find drivers. I mean, that's the reason why we're using Todd.
It's moot anyway because you can't. You can only use it for an existing route.
Yeah.
Okay. And to replace an existing bus.
Right.
So, but in your point, we shouldn't have to try them out because they're going to work with us to know the exact routes, the ranges, and
so let's move it forward.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Let's just,
And let's. But I think we keep that other bus. We use that as a trade-in, so we still have
Oh yeah.
So we still have 3 buses that all run, and in that way, if there's a problem with
Both were in use today.
Pardon?
Both were in use today.
Right.
Both buses.
And the problem is sometimes, with new technology, it's, like when they first started putting diesel engines in pickups, there was a lot of years where things don't work. When they went to the DEF fluid, there's a lot of years things didn't work. So I think it's a great idea. So what do we need to vote on? Or would somebody like to make a motion? Everybody got to speak, right? Yeah. I got Laura. Yeah, Chad. Me too.
What is the motion? Is it to,
Apply.
is it to apply?
Apply.
Oh, make the motion.
Me?
Yeah.
All right. I move that the River Valley University School District moves forward with an application process for the Clean School Bus Grant Program.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion?
Just thank you again, Dwight. Really appreciate you being willing to take this on.
All right. Not
And
the last you've
get
heard
us
from
a free
electric buses. That's not the last you've heard from me on this.
Okay, so if you're all ready to vote, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it appears, any opposed? It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is a unanimous decision in the affirmative. So thank you. Hey, Greg, before you run away on us.
Or did he run away?
No, he's still
Oh, there
there.
he is. He's
the middle.
I know, everybody's.
Yeah, there he is.
Hey, Greg.
Hey.
Hey, in 30 seconds or less, are we good on the windows? And tell us about the floor at the Dover building.
Done, and done. Yes, sir. We are scheduled for the asbestos removal in Dover. We're scheduled for install. Matt has been discussing with the PE teacher. It is gonna run into the school year next year by about 2 weeks, maybe 3 at most, to start the school year. The company that's doing the install, they do over 400 floors that they refinish in the summer, and they're just not willing to give that up for an install. So they were willing to give it, as soon as school starts, they'll do one for us. So that's all good to go. Windows are all set. The reviews were great. The people had nothing but great things to say, that the communication was good. Anytime there was any question or concern, they came right out and looked at something. They, in one case, in another case, called me back the very next day to let me know what was going on. So the communication was great. The gentleman came back down Friday morning and remeasured every single window, remeasured every lineal foot of trim that he was going to need. Again, I've been really impressed with their the way that they're on top of things, and so I'm excited about both those projects, to be honest.
So where did the floor come in at?
83.
And what did we budget?
65.
So that's quite a bit off. We're about $18,000 off, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay.
I said something, man. And
No,
you guys said, "Let's
no,
get the floor done."
I know you
I
did.
said,
But
Rich's floor done.
But I just, the only other question I have, would it make sense to wait till winter break?
It's going to be about 3 weeks to do.
So it doesn't matter when we do it, it's going to be during school.
Correct. And it's he said it's 2 to 3 weeks to lay it down, and you got another week to tear out the asbestos. So,
but
so a work plan set up with the third party with Fuss and O'Neill that that will tell them exactly what they've got to remove, how they've got to remove it, and then they'll do air quality testing once it's done. And that's going to be the second week of August. And then the floor is going to start the beginning of September.
Okay, so there'll be no students, because will summer school be in session, Matt, when they're tearing up?
No, summer school will be done by that point.
Okay, so we shouldn't have any concerns, right?
Not with the asbestos.
Okay. Is everybody okay with all that, the windows and?
That's great. Thank you, Greg.
Okay. I don't think we need it. I think we're all set, Lori, right, with you and Greg?
Yes, you are.
So if nobody has anything else for them, we'll see you folks next meeting or whenever we come cross paths again. Hey, Bill, why don't we hit your superintendent's report?
You got it. I sent you a digital copy like 2 minutes before the meeting, so read it at your leisure. But the thing I really wanted to update you on is the principal hiring process. I really want to thank Kate and Dwight for representing the board on the screening committee. Really, really, really helpful. We have 6 interviews scheduled for the Dover position, and we have 5 interviews scheduled for the Wardsboro position. The Wardsboro position will start tomorrow and Thursday, and the Dover position interviews will be Wednesday and next Tuesday. I am running logistics for all of this, organizing all the parties, and Bob is actually running the interviews. I want to give a special thanks to both Jen Finaldi and Lori O'Hearn for setting up the environment, making sure all the parents and all the community, all the parents and teachers and staff that are participating in interviews got all the information. I had the pleasure of meeting with the 6th grade students today from Wardsboro who will be participating on the interview committee. They're very professional and very appreciative of having their voice be heard, and just looking forward to that process, which begins tomorrow.
Thank you, Bill. Is there any... That was weird. Are there any questions for Bill?
I think
What was that?
a member was
Oh, okay.
Chad switched.
If there's no questions for Bill, thank you, Bill. Let's go banners, discussion possible action. This was something that we had talked about a while ago as a way to recognize graduating students. We also thought it would double as a good way to get some information on where people went to where they did their secondary and what they thought of it and comments. So we thought that some towns will sponsor a banner of a graduating student and, would say, have like a picture or whatever they want to of, Dwight B and, congratulations in class of 2023 and, graduated from Burton or something, whatever. And that we could get, I was thinking Dover, at least in the town of Dover, talking to them about economic development money, because it would be kind of a nice thing for the family of the student, and then we could put it up around graduation and take them down, like a month later or so, and then we could present it to each of the students. But to get the banner, you would have to, you would actually have to fill out a form, just saying that, your child's graduating and here's where they're graduating from. And we could then maybe ask some of those questions that we've always talked about for 25 years is, what do people think of the schools they're going to? Or, what were the positives and negatives? And it could help us in the future. And then Wardsboro, I guess, is looking at this year to have a discussion, because they sent me an email asking me about it. And I told them what we had for a discussion, so I don't know if it's part of their 1% discussion. Aren't they looking at doing a tax in Wardsboro on
Oh, yeah, for the room
Airbnb?
and meals, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what it was for, but there really isn't any action, because I think it's gonna take more than, I don't think we can pull it off this year. But if there is interest in the group, we could go to the towns and see if we could do something collaboratively. And I know we had that discussion as part of our future, and then it kind of we got busy with a bunch of other stuff. So I don't know what y'all think, and I don't know what we should do, but
Guys.
huh?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I'm sorry we didn't bring it up sooner, because I've seen some schools where they have those. You drive through town, it looks great, all the faces there, and that would have been a nice idea. And I think maybe do it in the future. I'm not sure. But I'm wondering, I hate to make more work for people or whatever, but maybe we could do something. Maybe in the newspaper, like have an insert or something with all our graduates in there.
Well, usually the paper does
They
that
do
anyways.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We do the local graduates and where
They do?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right.
Mike,
As far as banners, you just mean like a yard sign?
no, like the banners on the telephone
Telephone
poles. that
poles.
say,
Oh, no
Welcome
kidding.
to Dover.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so some towns honor, like for Memorial Day, they're honor their
Yeah.
veterans. And there'll be a picture of the guy in the 1940s when he was in, in uniform.
Right.
Right.
And and some towns will do it for students. So I thought it would be kind of cool to take the kind of the blue of the Dover color and the purple of the Wardsboro color. What color? Maroon. There you go. And that would kind of differentiate, and then
Yep.
try to either do the banner somewhere near where the student lives, or on the main road. So when people drive through town, hey, look, that Dwight's graduated. Only took him 25 years. I'm surprised.
Yeah, just barely made it too.
So, Chad, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, so Rich, part of what we talked about too was the possibility of generating sponsorship for these, so they were double-sided, if you recall as well, as we're talking about the cost. And it sounded like from the email that both you that came to me first, because I had met with the Wardsboro committee that's looking to do this in beautifying the the center of town, that they're not ready to move yet, but they just want to make sure that we were still interested. So, again, we're kind of playing, kick the rock down the street until we get to the pond so we can really play. But, just to keep the conversation going, because I think everyone agreed that it was a, wonderful idea to be able to recognize our graduates with something that is, something that's memorialized for them to carry on, and as well to continue to advertise our local businesses. And I think some of the question that we didn't really have the answer to right away was, I don't know what the rules are for advertisement type signs, especially on Route 100. Is there something like that we do need to consider as far as size and illumination, things like that? I don't know. But I don't think we're at a point where we need to consider cost yet, just whether or not it's something we're interested in, want to continue working on further as they present more ideas.
Okay, so why don't we do this? Why don't we plan in a couple? So thank you, Chad. I could not remember where that came from, and I didn't remember why we got the request sent to us. But let's put this on the agenda, maybe for the next meeting, and maybe we can invite somebody from Wardsboro and Dover to come on the meeting too and have a conversation. And even if the towns don't want to do it, maybe it's something we can kind of coordinate with advertising. And I think it would be, at least in Dover, we want to follow something similar to what we see, in Wilmington, Dover, as part of their economic development. And those are like the ones I've seen other places. It seems to be a pretty standard size banner, I believe, and we even bought one for the fire department for our 50th anniversary. So I think it would be something that we can I'll try to grab a couple of the fire department ones just so we can have some samples to look at. And, maybe we should just keep talking about it a little bit every meeting, and maybe we can get it moved forward for next year. And maybe for 2024 would be a good, because we would have to actually send things out probably in January to get them together and stuff. So let's see if we can move it forward if everybody's okay with that.
I'll have a graduate next year, so.
Yeah, there you go. It's all for Dwight. Dwight will finally graduate after all these years.
Yeah, there will be a Borum up there.
Okay, so thank you for the banners, electric buses, website. Chad, take it away.
We're back. Okay. So we were able to have, sorry, I just kind of lost everybody here. A good meeting the other day. Matt, myself, and Derek. Tammy had some things going on, was not able to make it. So we are really in that, as we mentioned, the annual board meeting, that content creation phase that we've got quite a punch list to iron out. Matt has directed me to Lori O'Hearn and Jennifer Fimeldi, which I knew about. They hold a lot of the imaging that's been taken at each school over the last few years, because we do want to have definitely some more updated visual content for that. We did look at a couple structural things as far as layout. Derek was phenomenal being able to, like, on the fly, I guess, inspect the coding and create exactly what Matt was looking for that made sense. So, a couple things that we're going back to Edgeworks to iron out for us in the display point of view. Greg and Laura, we definitely wanted to look towards you just for some legislative initiatives that are happening as far as the environmental health and safety aspects, just so that we can report. Again, that would be more straight reporting with regard to asbestos plan, PCBs, water testing, radon, and we'll be able to help create that content. I know Greg's got a lot on his plate, was the message, and from all the reporting he's done to us, there's no doubt about it. We have other Vermont schools that Edworks has worked with to be able to get some good ideas about how to present that content. And we will be working on the integration with Alma. So that's the new registration system that's going to be utilized, I guess, SU-wide. Maybe Bill can comment directly on that. And again, it's something I'm a little bit familiar with as a user. One of the middle schools, men's, where my daughter happens to be, is using it now. So that'll be nice to have. And so we're moving forward. One of the elements that we did discuss, with definitely a bit of sadness, some of the content that we were looking to do was going to be sort of welcome messages from each of the principals. So as we are in the position that we are, with Matt and Tammy moving on to different positions, that's something that's going to be held more, I think, as a placeholder for now until we have those positions filled. What we had all agreed on, again, timing is definitely a difficult factor here, that if we were able to set aside a couple weeks over the summertime when students were not in session, again, as we've said very honestly, that Matt and Tammy have both been pulled to really focus on immediate student needs. If we're able to spend a few hours a day over a couple weeks, that we would have been right on target. So if need be, that's where we're going to be with this. Again, I think it's more important that we have the content updated and correct, and really representing both schools and our community to the utmost. So we would like to propose and get some feedback from the board members on what we're really looking at, probably more of an August type release date. Again, we recognize we're way behind. It's not where we wanted to be, but we want to be forthright with everyone, especially the board. Again, as we've discussed too in a board meeting, having a suggestion from Mrs. Klontz that we look to our partner schools that do have audiovisual programming and see if we can utilize some of the student work to gain service hours. Great that Mark Tashin was here from BBA to bolster that suggestion as well. And that was something that has been discussed within the committee itself. So, we're definitely going in the right direction. We recognize the hurdles we have in place. And, I have offered to the committee itself to shoulder a lot of the burden coming forward, as my days have opened up quite a bit, so I'm hoping to be able to deliver more of the content that is required at this point in time. Matt, if you want to jump in and talk kind of about the committee and with the outgoing board member Mark Schauer, wonderful letter he wrote with some great ideas, and kind of what we discussed there. It would be fantastic to have you speak.
Sure. Thanks, Chad. That was perfect. We're at a transition with Mark being out of the picture, but I do think that Chad has the skills and the energy to carry this project into the next administration, which is really something that's important in terms of the transition. One thing that came up was the idea of whether or not this group should continue as a committee, or perhaps the board could declare a project manager. In this case, it would be Chad, to help kick the project through the uprights throughout the summer. I think we're close. We're way closer than we've ever been. It's nice to see things starting to really take shape. And the real work now is that checklist of content items that Chad brought up. And I think, with some help from Jen and Lori, and certainly I'm going to be around working in the district over the summer, and I'll help in any way that I can. I think it's just a decision, maybe a discussion for the board to decide if you want to continue with the committee model, or if you want to move more to a project management model and designate a board member as the project manager. In this case, I think you have somebody with the skills, the ability, the talent, the time, should you choose that direction. So we didn't reappoint committees at the last meeting because it was through a pretty quick process. We really, I think the technology committee was a de facto committee. I think you folks that were very involved with it. So I don't know if it makes sense, but I think, Chad, how much time are you going to be spending on this?
I mean, the short answer is whatever it takes. I don't know what it's going to encompass yet. We haven't gotten that deep. We've got some great notes from the last meetings that Matt and Mark had with Cynthia at Edgeworks. As Matt pointed out, we are certainly closer than we have been, which means progress is continuing to happen. It's just been a bit slow. As I mentioned, the annual board meeting, having the committee chair being pulled away for elements that were absolutely and understandably more important than, punching the website up, we get that. So, granted, I don't have those responsibilities that the principals do. So that does allow me, and again, I'm in a space that I feel that I'll be able to give it the energy it needs to bring it home. I mean, that's where we are. We're in the home stretch.
Okay, so how long? I guess maybe at the next meeting, can you just kind of give us a feel for how much time is going to be involved, and when we may see this project? I mean, we approved the funding over 2 years ago, or right around 2 years ago. I know we spent some time getting somebody, and then obviously there's issues with the content. I understand too, but I'd like to just see if we can get a rough estimate on what it's going to take and how much time you're going to need to devote and how much time it's going to take for other people, and then let's discuss it at the next meeting. Does anybody have a problem with not reappointing the committee or not not having a committee right now and let Chad just run with this? Mike, you good with that?
Absolutely.
I think Mike is like me. We really want to be, we know so much about technology, we really want to be in charge of it.
Right, yeah. I had a question for Chad. But,
go ahead.
So, thanks, Chad. Does the website designer or developer or whatever the company that's helping us, I know one of the reasons we picked them is because they're from Vermont and they've had some experience designing for other schools. Do they give you like a kind of a checklist or like a plan of attack, to go through? And if you have that, can you, every time you come across one, you can, delegate, okay, Principal Matt's good for that one, or Tammy, or whatever. You know what I mean? Is that kind of how you're going to go through the process to get to the finish line?
Not kind of, but exactly.
Oh, great.
Right. They've been fantastic. We have an entire spreadsheet that we've been working through from top to bottom and checking off the items. They're color coded so we know what is in progress, what has been completed. And then it gives us a great direction as to who we need to engage with. Like I said, as I mentioned, just on the environmental health and safety, was one of the elements and one that we discussed, rather thoroughly. So there I would be looking for input from, both the legislative entity that can help us and more, and it's lovely that she's also a board member with us, and Greg as well, because this is his, wheelhouse, with each of the buildings. And, again, as we mentioned, both principals, the welcome messages talking about, school culture, yes, we absolutely have those. The punch list is in place. So I think with any project, and I think Greg will tell you this as well, on the facility side, Rich, from your personal businesses, that, estimating the time is the most difficult part. Fortunately, there's not any estimation left on the financial side because, it is on us as the volunteer. Yes, we have our stipends, but, the volunteer aspects of the committee, taking on the extra work to make sure it's done for the community. So, and again, I do want to bring this up as well and make it a public question. I think it's one that is definitely geared towards the board because we're going to have some of these questions that pop up that do require board consideration and or approval. That if we are able to, and I feel very confident that we will be able to utilize student help, that in addition to getting their service hours, a donation to the school that is providing us what could be an amazing discount overall versus using a corporate entity for videography. And I'm just thinking about even just the messages alone for the principals. So something for us to consider down the line based on what outside involvement we do have that's done on a pro bono or donation basis that we might be able to make in kind, back to that program for their generosity and the donation of skills. I think one of the memes that I've loved seeing over the years, that when you hire a professional to come in and fix any appliance we're having, it takes them 5 minutes, but it costs you $200 or $300. It's not, you have to understand it's the time and the skill that you're paying for, not just them showing up.
So kind of following up on that, maybe we should put a call to arms out a little bit, let people know, because I know there's Twin Valley used to have a very robust video group, that made a lot of movies or documentaries. I think Brattleboro has one, and I don't know what's available at Leland and Gray, but let's hit all the schools up, and let's also hit the public up for people that want to help. And then, so maybe we can write some kind of request for help or a plea for help to push this across. And Chad, the spreadsheet you're talking about, I know I have that somewhere, I just don't know where it is. Can we have that for the next meeting? Can you get that to Bill so Bill can get it to the rest of us so we can look at it and kind of see where we're at? And then maybe we should definitely make sure we do meet every meeting, we have a brief update. Just, we've checked off 2 more boxes and we've only got 20 left or 50 left or whatever that number is.
Yep.
Is that good for everybody?
Absolutely. Perfect.
Okay, and if you need any help coding or anything, again, Mike and I are more than happy to help.
I gotta figure out that email thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how to open it yet.
Yeah, that's it. We'll get there. We'll get
So
to there.
maybe we'll get Mike at least to open his email, so we'll be in good shape. So, Kate, are you good with that? I think Laura left us. Yeah, no more Laura. Okay.
Yes, I'm good.
So I think website we pretty much killed. Matt, thank you for all you've done on that. I know we dumped a lot on you, but I have very good news for you today. I was up at Dover School with Bob, Tebow, and Matt told Bob he's not leaving. He's going to be staying in Dover because
nice.
Yeah. So, wait, that wasn't what I
that was a
took
dream.
away from that meeting. I'm sorry. The next thing on the list is the school board code of ethics. So this is something Mark brought up at the last year. As a member of my school board, I remember my primary concern must be. So we passed this out, and Tammy, can you email this to Chad and?
I think Bill might have done that already.
Chad and Kate, did you get this?
Yes.
So if you folks want to sign it, there's no requirement. You have to. Sign it, and I don't even know what to do with them, but sign it and turn it into the school, and the school can have it. Huh?
Sign your life away?
Yeah, sign your life away.
Okay.
So that's the school board code of ethics. Do I get anything else for new business?
I do not.
Mike? Kate, you got anything new?
No, but never mind. Okay. Nope.
Okay, Chad? You were on mute, buddy.
I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. Matt or Tammy? Bill?
Nope.
Okay. Consent agenda. So can I get them? I'm sorry, we don't have to do action. We have the March 23rd, April 3rd, and April 17th meeting minutes. Does anybody have any issues with any of those?
No.
I do not.
So if there's no objections by unanimous consent, we'll accept them. I had 2 correspondence. One of these I asked Alan to bring back to us at a later meeting. Alan, you had the safe storage that you sent there was a safe storage resolution you wanted the school board to consider. So do you want to? Alan left us. He got tired of us. Sorry, Alan. We'll get you next time, I guess. And then Mark from Burton did send a response to the requests that we had. I owe you some information regarding whether or not our sending town subsidize private pay students. The answer is a resounding no. I think everybody got this correct.
I don't think I saw that. Maybe I did.
It was in your packet.
It's in your packet.
Oh, it's my pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw
I
that.
did get it.
Okay, so Meredith, you get a copy of the packet too, correct?
I believe so.
So if you would just attach to the minutes this BB&A follow-up and also Alan's email that is in part of the packet about the safe storage.
I can attach it if it's online.
It should be part of the package. If not, I will scan it and send it to you.
Okay.
Okay, so that covers our correspondence.
Not even that.
So, we have an executive session, but those of you that may not want to come back and say hi to us, our next meeting is May 15th in Dover at 6 p.m. Matt, there's no holiday next month, in 2 weeks, is there?
I don't think so. I think we're good to go.
Okay, unreal. We're finally gonna have 2 meetings in the same month, just like we're supposed to.
Back to home.
So, Bill, can you just put up that what they have to say to go in executive session for personnel and contractual?
Yes, I sent it to Kate, and she's going to open her email, and she's going to read it.
Cool. All right.
I move to find that premature general public knowledge regarding the contract negotiation would put the board at great substantial disadvantage because the school board risk of negotiation disadvantage if discussed in public.
So can I have a second to that motion, please?
Second that.
So Mike seconds the motion Kate made. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is.
All right.
Go ahead, Kate.
I make a motion for the board to enter executive session under Title I, Section 313 of the Vermont Statutes Legal Consultation 313A1.
Dwight, or Mike, I'm sorry. You second that?
Second that.
Okay, so motion's been made by Kate, seconded by Mike. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, so we're moving in, Meredith, at, what time is it, 7:17?
7:17.
We're moving into executive session for contractual. We'll be out in a little bit and we'll bring you back in. Okay, so we're out of executive session at
35.
7:35. Thank you, your eye's still working.
I got you.
So on the first item, the contractual agreement, we're gonna turn the information over to the attorney to get the proper verbiage and hopefully have that available to us at the next meeting to approve. That's number one. And number two, we were asked to look at a letter of employment.
So I'll make a motion that we authorize the chair to sign a letter of employment for Nicole Ekenstierna at the hourly rate of $35.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Meredith, are you good with that?
Yes.
Okay, so all those in favor of signing the letter of employment for Nicole at $35 an hour, signify so by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. Congratulations, you have a school counselor trainee.
That's great news.
So we got the next meeting all set, Dover, 6 p.m. I don't think there's anything else, is there? Pay warrants. So
We signed.
we all have 3 signatures on pay warrants. So Meredith, are you ready to write a number down?
Sure.
Okay, so pay warrants in the amount of 337,488.85. So you want to just make a motion to approve them, and Mike, if you don't mind seconding it.
Sure. Motion to approve the pay warrants
Yep. In the
in the
amount
amount of whatever. 337, 448, 488, and 85 cents.
I second that.
Okay, Mike seconds it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I
Okay, done, folks. The motion that we all look for, believe it or not.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:37 p.m.
Perfect. Second,
second.
all ayes.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.